send you the video then. Good, let's start. I was just saying to everybody, this is the last class before the Easter break, and we'll take 2 weeks. We'll take 2 weeks break, and I think the next one back will be the 21st of April. But I am planning to carry on with the Zoom classes, just because quite a few people in the group are not local. So I think it'd be, if it's useful for you, I'll carry on. Anyway, let us start by planting the feet. So the 3 parts of the foot, the ball, the outside edge, and the heel, equally weighted. The body upright, the back of the neck, the chin drop, the back of the neck long to lift up the crown. And then softening into that posture, the release, the softening of the hips, the melting of the lower back, the relaxing of the chest, the dropping of the shoulders, and settling. First exercise. Breathe out, drop the head, drop the arms as if there's a weight on the elbows, pulling the shoulders and stretching open the back, tucking the tail. Breathe in, feel the chest change its shape, follow it with a movement up to the top of the in-breath. At the top of the in-breath, drop the elbows behind you to open the chest, drop the head lightly, wait for the out-breath. Feel the chest soften, follow it with a movement. And at the end, drop the head and drop the elbows. Wait for the in-breath. So the back is arched forward and the back is arched backwards. But not by pulling it into shape, by softening the body and letting the arms drop, letting the head drop, and letting that stretch the body open. Release. Follow it with a movement. Release the weight of the arms. Release the weight of the head. Open the lower back by rotating the hips. Falling backwards with the arms and the head, opening the chest, and release. Upright and relaxed. And this is what we're looking for in the first loosening exercise. Upright, released. Hips turn and square. Staying upright, releasing. Not just moving across, but melting and releasing on the inside to connect. Sinking the hips, softening the chest, staying upright, releasing through the whole body. So there's another exercise which simplifies this movement. The heels are together, tongues on the roof of the mouth, middle finger on the seam of the trousers, and all we do is go up and down. And what this exercise does is it gives us a sensation of the changes we're looking for on the inside of the body. So with this one, the base releases, the lower back softens, shoulders release, and the body sinks. The feet push into the ground. The legs push the torso up, and the shoulders relax. On the way down, there's a sense of the base of the spine falls away from the crown of the head. So the back elongates, but because the legs soften, center drops away from the crown of the head, so you feel the whole back opening and lightly stretching. Shoulders follow, and the elbows open up one fist from the body, and then the legs push into the ground. The legs push the torso up, the shoulders relax, and the arms close. Sinking. You don't carry the weight of the body, and you don't bend the knees, and you don't lower the body. You change on the inside of the body to allow the base to drop away from the crown of the head. This is the shift. So it's not a physical movement. It's not evening roll. It's not this one. It's a melt on the inside of the body. This is the change we're looking for. And then coming up. Don't lift the shoulders. Let the shoulders relax. Let the torso push up. Let the legs push the torso up. Out breath. Change on the inside. In breath. Lift. So the sensations of the base falling away from the crown of the head are exactly the same here. Base falls away. The leg pushes the torso up, the shoulders drop. Don't just move across. Don't just bend the knee. Don't carry the weight of the body. Exactly the same as the up and down exercise, the base falls away. The base falls away. If I wasn't moving and turning, it would just be like the first exercise we did. But because I'm turning as well, I'm also managing what's happening inside the body. Base falls away from the crown of the head, shoulders drop. So I feel supported from below, but I also feel fully released. Exercise number 2, exactly the same thing. When I drop the arms, the legs change in such a way that the center drops away from the crown of the head. Exactly the same. The legs change, abdomen changes, the torso changes, shoulders, back of the neck change on the forward swing of the arms. Coming up, the legs push into the ground, the legs push the torso up, 4 swings of the arms. Release. There's no movement of the body side to side. There's just an up and down in this one. So what we're looking for is the base falling away. And the legs changing in such a way that they support the body falling in. We don't want a feeling that the legs are holding us or the legs are moving the body up and down slowly. We want a feeling that the muscles in the legs are changing in such a way that the weight of the body presses in. The weight of the body presses onto the changing muscles immediately. There's no like change the muscles, then the body. As the muscles change in the legs, so the weight of the body presses in. It's a dynamic, fluid relationship. If you have something floating on the bath, and you take the water out of the bath, that thing immediately moves with the water. So the water changes and the weight of the body falls in. 4 swings of the arms. What we're looking for is the control of the speed at which we soften the legs, so that the muscles in the legs have a relationship with the buoyancy and how they support the body. Say that again if that's too not clear enough. We're looking to change the muscle. If we change the muscles in the legs too quickly, they bear no relation to the weight of the body falling in. If we don't change the legs enough, they're holding the body up. We're looking for this relationship where the legs change, it allows the body in. Just like when we sit onto a big beach ball. When the beach ball changes and allows the weight in, more and more pressure, more and more buoyancy, and more support over the foreswings of the arms. But it's not that we reach stability, the stability continues. The stability continues increasing over the foreswings of the arms. Very easy to have a big movement at the beginning and then a smaller change. You know, we want the change to be smooth and even. Smooth and even. So 1% of release in the legs is 1% of buoyancy, is 1% of falling in, is 1% of connection. 2% of releasing is 2% of falling in, 10% is 10%. We don't want 50% release the legs, no falling in. We want the whole thing to be connected. Third loosening exercise, same thing. The change inside the body is a release. Center falls away from the crown of the head. The upper body presses in. Buoyant, connected condition. Turn the waist, the arm goes out. Turn back, draw the arm in. Sink and change on the inside. Sink and change. Don't let the arm and shoulder knuckle lift. As you sink, the shoulder knuckle sinks. As you turn the arm, floats out. Don't push the arm out. Wait until the timing of the shoulder connecting, the waist turning, and you'll find the natural timing of the arm. Very easy with this one to go ahead of the natural timing of the body and move the arms independently. That's the timing of the body. No, we want the timing of the body to guide the timing of the arm. So there's a connection and a wave right the way through to the fingertips. We don't want the arms to move independently. We want the connection, the turning of the waist and the body staying connected to give you the timing of the arms. Turn back, pulls on the shoulder, which elongates the arm, and the arm has to follow. Sink and connect, the base falls away, lower back falls away, the shoulder drops, the waist turns, and the arm goes out. See if you can find this connection. You have to deliberately not move the arms. You have to wait patiently until you feel the whole shoulder girdle connecting before you move the arm. If the arm feels light, it's not connected. If the arm feels really lightweight, it's not connected. The arm needs to feel heavy. The arm probably weighs about 8 pounds, maybe half a kilo, half a stone. And you'll feel that, the weight of the arm, when the knuckle of the shoulder releases, you'll feel the weight of the arm. When the knuckle of the shoulder is held, the arms feel very light. That the arms, they say in Taiji that the elbows are dropped. Yes, the elbows feel like they're dropped, but it's nothing to do with the elbows. It's to do with the whole of the knuckle of the shoulder and the muscles that support the shoulder and the shoulder blade being able to be released that connects the arm. And it's the dropping of the elbows. The whole purpose of the dropping of the elbows, or keeping the elbows low, is so the arm stays connected. But if the knuckle of the shoulder is held and you drop the elbows, it's still not connected. You need to connect the arm by dropping the whole shoulder in. The whole shoulder is from here upwards, from the middle of the back, right through this part of the body, in. Chest softens and the shoulders drop in. And this exercise is great. Number 3 is great for this because when we sink the base, when we sink the shoulder, that's when we get the feeling of the body being connected. Then the turning of the waist comes straight through to the arm. Sink the base, sink the shoulder, and turn. We can do it in those stages. We can do 1, 2, 3. Sink the base. Make sure the mind then comes up to the shoulder to sink the shoulder. Turning the waist then gives you the wave through into the arm. Sink the lower, open the lower back onto the leg. Sink the base. Sink the shoulder. Turn. Base, shoulder, turn. Base, shoulder, turn. Base. And if you're just turning, and if you're just moving, you won't find these 3 stages. You have to find the changes inside, so the body becomes connected. Number 4. Base falls away from the crown of the head. Same thing. Don't take the body into a lower position. Don't hold the body. Let it fall. Let the base fall away from the crown of the head. As the shoulder knuckle falls, the arms move. So this exercise shows us how to relate what the base does to what the shoulders do, to what the arms do. So there's a synchronized quality of change. The fingertips, the hands move because base is changing. The base changes to allow buoyancy to develop. The shoulder knuckle changes, the hands can change. The hands are only moving while the shoulder knuckle is changing. Shoulder knuckle is only changing while the base is changing. So if I want my fingertips to move, first thing I do is change the base. As soon as I change the base, there's room for the shoulders to move. As soon as the shoulders move, there's the arms move. And they keep changing until I reach this position. Then I drop the arms. I release through the whole body and open up. Start the process again. The base, the base, which means change the legs so the lower back can fall in. The weight of the body can fall into the legs and press the legs onto the ground. Change the shoulders, drop the elbows and the arms moving. Keep the shoulders changing until the hands reach this position. The whole body feels pressed on to the ground, from the hands through to the feet, like a compression. I was out walking today with my wife, and she uses these walking sticks, lecky poles, and they're elasticated, or there's a spring in them. So when you touch the pole on the ground, you've got quite a strong spring, and they're very alive. They're very much responsive. So when you use the pole to walk with, it's really springy. And I was thinking, it's a little bit like when I let my legs go and I open my lower back and I let the weight of the torso drop in. That's a little bit like one of those poles, because with the pole, there's a line through the pole, say that was the pole. There's a line from the top of it through to the tip, straight down the shaft of the pole. And with my body, there's an alignment straight from the crown of the head down to the feet. So that structural element is in place. I'm not collapsed over, I'm not hung over, I'm not leaning back, I'm not holding tight in my body. There's an alignment through my body that when I change on the inside, just like that spring changes on the inside, the whole body drops in. This is what I'm looking for in the fourth exercise. Change. And the third one, hands open up. Again, release and through to the fingertips. And slowly coming up. The fifth loosening exercise. Turn the toes in, sit back, open the front, slightly narrower than normal. Straight forwards. Start in the 50-50 position. Upright. Long in the back of the neck. Release onto the back leg. Same quality of change. Release the back leg. Lower body falls away, upper body follows. Sit 90% back. Same thing into the center. Don't just move forward. Don't just glide forward. Change the legs. Draw your body down. Let the center of gravity fall into the legs and be supported by the legs. So in the center, you feel buoyant. In the center, the structure of the body is there. Both feet, the ball of the foot. Ball of the foot, can you see that? The outside edge and the heel are three spots on the foot. Outside edge, the heel, the center of the heel. Not back of the heel, the center of the heel, the ball of the foot, and the outside edge. Those three parts of each foot on the ground. The leg aligned, so the knee and the toes. The knee and the toes. The body in the center. Drop the back knee. Open the quad so the back knee can drop. If you have a look at the structure, the back leg, the thigh is vertical. The hip and the shoulder are all in line. You don't want this position because this puts too much slack into the body. You obviously don't want to be leaning back, you know, pushing the hips forward and leaving the body behind because that's too loose. You want the body to have some structure so that when you drop the knee to the ground, the hip softens and allows the weight of the leg to drop. The body follows. The whole body feels connected. When the knee goes to the floor, 55 in the back leg, 45 in the front. That means if you had a scale and the scale is 50-50, it's level, 55 in the back, the weight is in the back foot, And as you pass the weight to the front foot, the scale changes. 45 in the back, 55 in the front. But if you look, when I do that, I load the back leg by dropping the knee. I sink to the front foot and the back leg. The compression in the back leg releases. I'm not moving my alignment forwards over the front foot. I'm not pushing my hips forwards and leaning backwards. I'm staying in the center. I load the back leg. Probably can't even see what I'm doing because it's on the inside. I load the back leg and then I sink to the front leg. The back leg expands. Just like that walking pole. You push onto it and it compresses. You move it away and it expands. So you load the back leg, 55, 45 to the front. You change 55 to the front foot by sinking onto the front leg. That allows the back leg to expand. You release backwards, 90% to the back leg. Fall in, loading both legs, but drop the back knee as you sink onto the front leg. You sit back, loading the back leg. You don't just move back, you don't hold the weight of the body, you release through the body, exactly as we've been doing. 90% back. Release to both legs, sinking in, onto the front leg. Back leg expands, sit right back. Turn. First, 50-50 posture. Opening out the thighs, getting the structure of the body right, so each part of the foot is in place. Sit back. Sitting back is exactly the same as sinking, the same feeling of releasing the base. Release the base, release the body, sit back 90%. Move in. Drop the back knee, loading the back leg, sink to the front leg, and stretching the back. You won't see big movement forwards. You won't really see very much. You may see a slight lifting of the back leg. As the back compression in the back leg expands, you may see the back leg change slightly. You won't see very much happen in the front leg. What you'll feel is the weight shifting from the back leg to the front leg very smoothly, like pouring a glass of champagne. Very smoothly, you're shifting the connection from the back leg to the front leg. You're not moving over the front leg, you're stabilizing on the front leg as you move forwards. As you sit back, you're stabilizing on the back leg. As you move in, you're stabilizing on both legs. As you drop the back knee and stabilize on the front leg, both legs feel connected. One more time. Sink in. Drop the back knee. Move forwards. Check out that. I'm going to hand over to you, see if there's any questions on any of that before we go any further. You'll have to unmute yourself. But I want to talk about I just want to throw it open to you first, see if there's any questions.
Can I ask about exercise 3 again, Luke?
Yeah.
I mean, that was great. There was a lot in what you were saying in about exercise 3. I mean, that's you went into it in great depth. But when I was practicing earlier outside, I was getting a bit confused about where I am in my foot in relation to my hand. So so let's say I'm sinking into my right foot, and then my shoulder makes the connection with my right foot, and then I turn my waist and my right arm is raised.
Yeah.
And then I'm twisting my waist into the left foot, and it draws back the hand, and then the same again on the other side. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'm thinking about, you know, the difference between making a connection and getting the body to respond, the rest of the body to respond to that connection with the ground, and actually sort of lifting up from the ground, you know, sort of using it to lift myself up. I'm not doing that, am I? I'm literally just sort of moving in, and then the body sort of stacks down onto that, and then with the, because, you know, I'm not lifting my arm with contraction, am I? It's partly with the, I mean, obviously there's a little...
It's not going to lift up by itself. You do have to lift the arm up, but what you want to do is make sure that the shoulder stays connected while the arm's lifting.
It's got to be connected to that foot, hasn't it? That's
yeah, but there's, you know, it's a wrong idea to think the arms are going to move by themselves.
No,
the arm,
no,
definitely. It's like the beginning of the form.
To know in my mind where the connection is, you know, and it's with that same foot as you're turning and dropping the shoulder.
Yeah, let me go through it for you, Robert. Right. If you have a look, let me go through it for you, and I'll be very clear where the connection is. So I stay in the middle. I don't move over either way. I stay exactly in the middle. So all that's happening is that I'm turning around that axis both ways. That's the first thing. The body doesn't shift across at all. It stays in the center. So when I turn, I'm going to turn around so you can watch me from the rear. When I turn open to 1:30, my weight is going onto my left foot. So I'm turning to the corner to 1:30. My weight is going onto the left foot. My shoulder's going onto my left foot. And as I turn, my arm goes out to the front. Then as I square and come back to 12 o'clock, my hips are turning back, my shoulders moving in, my arms drawing in, and I'm beginning to drop my arm. When I'm square, my left arm is about 3/4 of the way down. When I start to sink onto my right foot, I stay in the center, I'm turning towards 10:30. I'm dropping my right shoulder and my right arm goes out. Now all my connection is on the right side. I square, my arm's 3/4 of the way down. The other arm goes out as I turn the other way. Is that as you understand it?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I've just, you know, to actually feel it, you know, in a really, in a big way, you know, you have to really, really listen to it. And, you know, as usual, I've been kind of doing it in a hurry, really. And you know, because it's very subtle. So you have to really, really listen carefully, don't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's very easy with this one to get into the kind of the swing of it, and you just end up swinging.
Yeah.
Right. But the problem with this is that it's all external and it's very loose, but there's no internal changes and there are no pressure changes. So what we want to try and do is move from this is okay, it's nice and loose, it's upright, it's accurate, but it's not internal. So what we want to try and do is keep that looseness that we have in doing the exercise like this, but actually begin to bring in some of the internal changes at the same time.
Yeah. So
eventually we can do it quickly, but it's much more internal and quick.
Right.
Than, so the way I'm doing it is I'm doing it slowly because we need a lot of focus when we work internally, right? So this is slow, but when you do it at the speed, you won't have the nice rhythm and the movement that you get when you do this, when you do it more externally and swing. But ideally, you can do the internals much faster. Like connect, let the body follow, connect, let the body follow. It can be much quicker, and it needs to be quicker for push hands.
Yeah.
Taiji needs to be at a fast speed and a slow speed for developing your listening and your ability to move the body, but fast when you do push hands. Same speed as the partner's push. Whatever the partner does, you need to be able to change at the same speed.
Yeah.
So you do need to practice advancing timing, advancing the speed at which you can do things with Tai Chi. That's for another time. The first thing is to make sure you can feel, what does it feel like to let the shoulders go? Yeah, for a lot of people, it took me a long time. Patrick always used to say to me, your hands are too hard, meaning they're too light. Because when your arms feel light, you're holding your arm. They talk about in Tai Chi having weight on the elbow and the elbows staying low, which is an okay analogy, but a low elbow, what we should be talking about is the shoulder knuckle releasing. Because when the shoulder knuckle releases, the elbow's low. The shoulder knuckle releasing drops the elbow. And if we can feel how to release the shoulders properly and let them drop over the ribs, then the arms will do the right thing, and the arms feel heavy and they feel this muscles through here feel slightly stretched. And there feels like a slight compression. As the weight of the arm drops, it feels like it presses in to a spring. This is the feeling we want, which is very different from keeping the hands light. Because when the arms feel light and free and loose, there's a lot of holding going on.
Yeah.
The arms should feel heavy and pressed in, just like the way the body feels slightly heavy and pressed onto the floor. And then it's a clue that you're getting the right feeling in what you're doing, because half of Tai Chi is, am I doing it right? Am I translating what's being asked into the right sensation in my body? Half of our practice is trying to figure out what those sensations are and if they're actually what we're meant to be doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, slow down. It doesn't need to be, give yourself a chance to really feel the transition between the movement, between one position and the next position, the transitions, because Tai Chi is about postures, but it's actually about how you get from one posture into the next posture. It's the transition between the postures and where the forces are generated and where the forces take place. And we need to pour the body very carefully between those postures. And the transitions are the interesting bit. So for a beginner, it's all about posture, getting the structure right, getting the posture right. And as we go much more into the intermediate, it's about how you move between those structures, how you keep the fluidity, how you keep the body connected, how you keep the forces developing as you move through those structures. So getting quite technical tonight. I hope that's okay. There's another, I wanted to answer Kath's question about the connection with the back leg and turning the toes in, which is also about moving from one posture to another posture. So let's move on to that. Have a look. Have a look at this posture. I'm holding the ball here. I'm sinking through to the front leg and I'm turning. When I step, very light heel touches the ground. First thing is very light. In order to do that, I need to be sinking here. This is sinking here enables this to take place. It's not that I hold on or everything stops moving and I put my foot out. No, it's dynamic. As I'm sinking, as I'm releasing into my right, so I step. As I move in, it pushes the ball of the foot onto the ground. So as I arrive in the center, the ball of the foot touches. When I'm in the center, I don't move on to the front leg. I stay in the center. I turn my hips. The hips move the thigh moves the toes into the bow stance. I don't want the leg to be loose. I don't want the thigh to move and the foot to stay behind. I want there to be some structure in the leg so that when I turn the hips, the foot moves at the same time. Let's just try that together. We go from holding the ball at the beginning of the form. We're going to sink onto the right leg and turn. As we're sinking, we step. So it's dynamic. In the sinking, in the releasing, we step. It's not that we sink, step, find our balance and take a step. That would be two things. We're looking for one thing. As we sink, we turn and step. As we sink and turn, we step. Dynamic. The sinking and the stability that comes from sinking and from releasing enables us to step. That's the first thing. Then we move in. We're looking for that place where we come into the center and it pushes, at the movement of coming in, pushes the ball of the left foot onto the ground. There's a structure in the right leg so that when the right hip turns, the right thigh is going to turn and the toes are going to come as well, all as one unit. Try that. Let me have a look at how you do that. If there's any questions, please ask as we go through it. I can't see everybody's legs because of where your camera is positioned, but I'll do what I can to see what you're doing. Do it very, very gradually with strong awareness of the process of the changes you're making. So Toby, do that again because you moved onto the front leg, then you move back into the back leg. So try and do it, try and find your stability in the center. Once you're in the center, your front leg is taking some of your weight and you've got stability in the center. As you move in, your front leg is supporting you. As you move on to your front leg, it's supporting you. Enough, yeah, to be able to move the back leg in. You have to find a buoyancy in the front leg as you move into the front leg. There's a buoyancy in the front leg.
And then you're going into 50-50?
Yeah. Well, actually, all we're doing at the moment is just turning the back leg in. I'm going to go through the next bit in a minute.
Oh, okay.
So we're just moving, sinking, finding the dynamic buoyancy that enables us to step, and then gliding in, turning the waist and the leg as one unit. Then we're going to load the back leg and transfer to the front leg. That's just the first bit of getting the body into the center with the correct structure of the body so that the forces can then play through the body. That's the next bit. Yeah, good. Okay, have a look. So here, I'm going to sink into my right leg, release. This is exactly the same as the first loosening exercise. The base falls away, the spine structures, the upper body follows, and I turn. Exactly the same as the first loosening exercise. I'm moving in here and I'm turning, opening the hip joint. As I'm doing that, I step. So it would be like doing the first loosening exercise. As you're sinking in, you step. In the becoming buoyant and dynamic, that gives you the ability to step. That's the first part of it. The second part, moving in. I'm not just gliding in, I'm allowing my body weight to compress into the front leg as well. So both legs feel loaded to a little bit of a degree as I come in. I'm turning the hips and the foot comes in with it. I'm in the center. All three parts of the foot are connected. I'm upright. I'm neither in the front leg nor the back leg. I'm not forward, I'm not back, I'm not leaning back or forward. I'm in the center. Then I'm going to drop the back knee, open the back hip joint to allow the back knee to drop. This creates 55 weight in the back leg or compression in the back leg. At the same time, I'm sinking to the front leg and I'm changing that compression. I'm changing that connection to the front leg. So it's like I've got a set of scales, 55 in the back, and I'm smoothly changing to the front. What you'll notice in that movement is that the back leg, as I drop the back knee, this becomes very vertical, a line between the knee, the hip, and the shoulder. This is too slack because there's an angle here. The hip comes forwards as the knee drops. The leg becomes loaded, 55 in the back, 45 in the front. At the same time, I'm sinking to the front foot, which allows the compression in the back to unspring. It's like one of those walking poles, you push onto it and it springs, you take it away and it comes back. I'll drop onto the back leg and it loads, go onto the front leg and it decompresses, unloads. And this is the loading and unloading of the base. And you have to have a very clear structure, a very clear release to load the body, and then soften and the body can unload. If you're holding on, you won't load the legs. If you're out of alignment, you won't load the legs. If you're holding somewhere, but no, you can't move into the front leg. So everything in the body has to be quite clear in order to load the back leg, change to the front and let the back leg unload. Let's do it together. Let's carry on with that example of sinking onto the right leg, turn and step, gliding in, square the hips, turn the toes in. As soon as you're facing the right way, drop the back knee. Don't move forwards, just drop the back knee, load the back leg, feel the thigh vertical. The hip can advance slightly, the front hip seated, the back leg is loaded, transfer to the front leg, pour the connection to the front leg, becoming more and more stable on the front leg. The back compression can decompress. It has to be done as one. You can't hold on to the compression, then change. It has to be one smooth, fluid change. The other side. Moving from ward off left into ward off right. Glide in. As soon as you're in the middle, ball of the foot touches, hips turn, toes come in. There's the structure of the body. Legs are open, 3 parts in each foot touching the ground. Sink the back knee to bring the back thigh vertical, opening the back hip, loading the back leg, sink to the front foot, wave through the body. Wave through the body means the back leg expands, bringing the torso and the arms with it. Let me have a little look, and then we'll do a form.
Alec, could I just ask something in relation to what we've just been doing? I mean, that's helped a great deal. I think it was my misunderstanding that when you actually get into the 50-50, that you had to sink 90% back before you went forwards. And of course, that isn't right, is it? You don't have to do that.
In which posture or which exercise?
In the one that we were just doing, you know, like, as I was saying before, I've had trouble in turning my waist. You know, very often I could turn my waist and my foot hadn't come with me. But when you're in that the position like ward off right, I was under the misunderstanding that you then had to sink back 90% before you move forwards. But you're saying you don't have to do that. You can just basically be 55-45 and then just drop into your front foot without having to sink back so far.
I mean, from there, ward off right, the next posture you do sit back.
Yeah.
And then you move in. But once you're here, you don't sit back and do another one. Once you sink in, that's your sinking in. Then you load the back leg. Then you sink to the front, and there's your press.
Yeah, but that first move when you
sit back, you move in, you load the back leg, sink to the front, and there's your push.
Yeah.
You don't.
It's the transition from like one direction to another. I was just, like I said, under the impression that in those transitional moves where you are closing your back foot, that you have to sit right back.
No,
you're saying you don't, like single whip, for instance.
The transitional moves, have a look at it again. In the transitional moves, you sink onto one leg, you turn to the corner, you take the step. This is all going to be one movement. Into the center, square the hips, load the back leg, sink to the front leg, and through. This is all one movement.
Yeah.
But we're breaking it down into stages to make sure that each one of those is as clear as possible for you.
Yeah, that's much clearer, thank you. So.
Okay, great. You know, if I was in a class with you, it would be much easier because I could see what everybody was doing. You'd get a much clearer sense of what I was doing, and I could explain it in a way. We could do a bit of push hands with it, and you could actually see get the feel of it a lot more. But on Zoom, it's tricky.
Yeah.
I have to rely a little bit on what questions you can ask and what's useful for you as well. So hopefully doing okay. Hopefully I haven't lost you all tonight.
No, it's cleared something up quite a lot actually.
Okay, great.
Like I think I'm doing it right, but like I say, it seems like a very simple question, but it's surprising how those, like I said, very basic moves, if you don't get them right.
The thing is, nothing's really
to turn when you've got when you're on that heel, you know, to turn the waist and the leg. It's, you know, you're in it, aren't you? And to turn it, it's quite difficult. So it is tempting to rock onto the other foot before you to turn it around. I've done that many times.
Yeah. So the thing is, with the turning of the back foot, there needs to be. The body needs to be much more of a unit. You know the way Elvis used to move his knees, and they're all like this and loose. We don't want that going on, okay? We don't want a shaky thing going on. What we want is a structural thing, so that when the thigh moves, the foot comes with it. We don't want the thigh to come quicker than the foot. We don't want the hip to move, then the thigh, then the foot. We want the whole thing to move as a unit. Then load the back leg and move to the front leg, okay? Because if the hips move and the thigh moves, but the foot doesn't move, the leg's too loose, right? We don't want the leg to be loose like an elastic band, so that when one part of it moves, the other part doesn't. We want the whole leg to be a structure, so that when the hips turn, everything turns. The body moves as a unit. Then when we sink, we can load the back leg, sink to the front leg, and the power can come through the body then. If the body's too loose, it loses its structure. And we're talking about being loose all the time. We're only getting rid of unnecessary tension. It's like if you've got a bow with a string, there's always tension in that wood. That wood is very precise and very alive, and it's got a dynamic, you know, you can ping it and it's kind of alive. We want our bodies to be like an instrument that's really finely tuned, rather than something that's just kind of collapsed or relaxed or too soft. Too soft in Tai Chi is no good. Too hollow in Tai Chi is no good. Too collapsed is no good. Someone goes to push you, you don't lose your structure to get out of the way. You maintain your structure and you move from the base. Your structure remains when you move. You don't lose your structure to get out of the way. And these things are learned over time and through doing push hands as well. Let me just see how long we've got left, because I've kind of gone on a bit tonight. It's 8:15, but I want to go through a bit of the form. So we'll go from the beginning just to cross hands to finish. We can try and put some of what we've done tonight into the form. We'll go nice and slowly. Take your time. Feel the body. Lift the sternum. Lift the crown of the head by dropping the chin long in the back of the neck. And then change on the inside of the body. Base falls. Shoulders relax. Settle. And the knees. Base fall away onto the left foot. Keep the base sinking as you turn. Turn the hips back, and immediately the right toes come in. Settle. Keeping the shoulders low, the arms float out. Release. Settle. As soon as you turn the hips, the left thigh and the left toes turn in. Sit back. 50-50 posture. Load the back leg, release to the front, wave through to the arms. Sink and turn. Loading base to step. Glide in. As you reach the 50-50, the left ball of the foot touches the ground. When you turn the hips, the right thigh and right toes all move in together. Load the back knee. Sink to the front leg. Wave to the hands. Sink onto the left foot. While you're sinking, while you're stabilizing on the left, take a step. Glide in. As you reach the 50-50 point, the ball of the right foot is pushed onto the ground. When you turn the hips, the left thigh, left toes all come as a unit. Don't move onto the front foot. Stay in the center and turn. Drop the back knee. Sink to the front foot. Glide back. Drop into the 50-50 posture. Load the back knee. Sink to the front foot. Press. Sit back. Glide into the 50-50 posture, falling in. Load the back knee, back thigh vertical. Upper body softening onto the front leg and through. Push. Sit back and turn. While you're sinking into the right leg, step. Move in as you touch into the center point. Ball of the left foot touches the ground. When you turn the hips, the right toes come in. Same in every posture. Find your structure of your posture. Drop the back knee, load the back leg, sink to the front leg, wave through to the arms. Sink and turn. Step to the corner, into the center. Load the back knee, sink to the front leg, wave through to the hands. Turn and chop. Turn back and fold. Take a step, sinking, stable step. Move into the 50-50. Square. Load the back leg. Sink to the front leg. Relax the shoulder girdle. Wave through to the hands. Drop onto the left foot. Leg turn. Into the center, square, there's your structure. Load the back leg, through to the front leg, wave to the hands, sit back. Always looking for the structure. Always looking for the posture, which you can load and release. Into the 50-50 posture. Drop the back leg to the front and through. Push. So you may find you need to look at the recording of this class again, because there's a lot of detail. It's quite technical tonight, and that should give you something to work with over the Easter break. We're taking 2 weeks off. I'm taking 2 weeks off anyway. I may do something like a weekend Zoom in the middle of it all, but I'll let you know, and I'll let you know when we start. I'll let you know that a week before we start again. I think we're starting again something like the 21st of April. Yeah. So thanks very much. I'll send you the video tomorrow.
Great class, Luke. Thank you.
Good Easter.
Right, keep well. Yeah, keep well, everybody. Have a good Easter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.